Hey folks, we've got a quick comparison video here. I got an email this morning that Microsoft has updated Windows Photos, and there's a new feature built into the photo viewer and photo editor called Generative Erase. It's replacing their old spot tool. And the exciting thing for me is this is a tool that seems to be coming out first for Windows on ARM. So I've got a Windows on ARM tablet here. This is my Robo Ancala. And if we're going to compare Generative Erase, I think the gold standard for a lot of consumers is Magic Eraser. So I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison here looking at Generative Erase versus Magic Eraser. Now, starting off with the Pixel tablet, one of the things that I love about Magic Eraser is how easy it is to do just these little touch-ups, these little spot edits. So for example, I've got this photo from the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. They have all kinds of themed balloons, but just as I was taking this photo of someone decked out in cool Star Wars gear, this woman kind of started edging in and I got just the tip of her nose. I think that's kind of distracting. I could crop the photo, but instead I'm gonna go into Edit. I'm gonna go to Magic Eraser. It's finding suggestions. That takes a bit. Couldn't find anything, but I wanna zoom in here and I just wanna wiggle. We're gonna kind of scoop in here, kind of paint around her nose. And all we want is to see, I wish I could make the brush size a little bit larger. We should just see that it'll replace that with the background. Should be super easy. There's just that little hint of an outline around her nose, but if we zoomed this back out, I don't think that would be too distracting. You could probably even touch it up again. Now, let's check out the same edit here on my Robo Ancala. We're gonna open this up in the Windows Photos. We're gonna edit. And now we've got this new erase. Remove distractions. Brush over the entire area you want to remove from your photo. This feature uses AI to infill. So this is where we used to have that little spot removal tool. Now I'm gonna take the same thing. Oh, we do have brush size. Oh, see, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. We're gonna kind of come in here. Oops, my stylus is a little sensitive. We're gonna come in here and just kind of wiggle right over her nose and to the top of the head. Oh, see, and I think that did an even better job, especially like kind of right around in here. It even redrew the seam. I mean, Magic Eraser did the same thing too, but there's also less of a border in the black balloon background where her nose was. I think Microsoft did this really well. All right, let's close these out. Let's try another photo, starting with Magic Eraser. Like another simple thing that we might try to edit. I just like a stick that's sticking out. So I've got this cool rock thing that I'm trying to do an exposure test for one of my camera reviews, but I just don't like this thing up here. This I think looks distracting up here. So I'm gonna go into Edit. We're gonna go into, where is my Magic Eraser? It's finding suggestions. See, this is the one thing I wish it would just let me go into Magic Eraser. Now I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna kind of wiggle it just a little bit, all up and down. I think I can circle it. Let's just try circling rather than completely painting in. This one should be pretty easy because we just have a blue gradient in the sky. I'm trying to get the whole border here, but it's kind of hard to see because I don't have a stylus for my Pixel tablet. So my big old dumb fat finger is kind of in the way of what I'm trying to edit. See, and that's perfect. There's ever so slightly a little hint of where, oh, actually you can kind of see it a little bit better when you zoom out, but you can see that could just be mistaken for part of the clouds or the gradient in the sky. I think that's pretty good. Now, let's come back over to my Robo Ancala. We're gonna open this. I'm gonna come back into editing. I'm gonna go to erase. I don't need this. Okay, good. Now, one of the tricky things, I'm not entirely sure, like if I try to zoom in, but how do I move? Okay, let me try a two finger. That's pretty clumsy. So I'm trying to do two finger movements, and then my finger movements did select an area. That definitely needs some work, so I'm gonna undo that. And now, same thing, I'm gonna come in and with my, oh man, my stylus really tweaks this. All right, let me kind of just paint this. That should be pretty simple. Magic Eraser is definitely easier to sort of use. Like Google Photos understands hand gestures better. I want to see, especially what it does to the tree in the background. See, it kind of painted that tree information back in. Oops. Kind of painted that tree information in well, but kind of the same situation here. When we zoom this out, nope, zoom it out. Stop it. There we go. You can kind of see it keeps this faded outline of where it was. So both Microsoft and Google kind of fallen prey to the same thing. There's wispy white in the blue in the sky, and it's kind of replacing that tree branch with some of that wispy white. Moving on, let's try some other tests. I really want to see what this does with sort of like a bokeh problem that I've got on one of my shots. So let's go back to our Pixel tablet and get rid of those edits. And this is a photo I really like, but I don't love these sort of like dead flowers, and this is like a little spiky seed potty thing that's in the background of this shot. And again, I could probably crop, but I don't want to move the flower too far to the edge of the frame. So we're gonna go into edit. We're gonna go to Magic Eraser. I love this. So far, Magic Eraser has found nothing in any of these shots. And see, like, look at how smooth that is. Oh, Google, you do this so much better. All right, so now I'm gonna try circling. I don't think circling really is the Magic Eraser solution. Oh, no, that kind of did it. You know what? I'm going to give Magic Eraser just a second try here and kind of paint around this outline. This is tricky because it's got to try and figure out what I mean. Oh, that's way worse. Let's get rid of that. So for this other sort of dead flower up here, I'm going to paint it more. I'm going to give it a good outline. Let's get even kind of into that branch. Get rid of some of this stuff. And let's see what it does. See, I don't love how it's kind of drawing out those outlines from where the objects were. So let's say that one, not as great. If I zoom all the way out, you can clearly see that there's been something going on in the top left corner. It looks really artificial. Now, let's see if Microsoft can do this any better. We go into our photo edits. We're gonna go to erase. It's still giving me the remove distractions. I'm gonna zoom in a bit, which also means it does the, that is so funny. Definitely need to give Microsoft some feedback there. And I'm gonna try the same thing. I'm gonna do a circle around this. And I don't know, I'm gonna try and do the same thing where I sort of scooped the sharp points, and then we're gonna, oh, I didn't get that finished. We're gonna have to do that one again. Yeah, my stylus is super sensitive. Let me try it with my finger. So now I'm gonna kind of draw this in, give it a little dimple right there, a little dimple right there, and come all the way around. Oh, see, it doesn't understand sort of circling. Let me try, let me undo this. Let me try circling this. Maybe if it's a completed circle, it might be able to figure out. Nope. So you have to paint in Microsoft. So I'm gonna increase my brush size more, and we're gonna come in, I'm gonna give it more of a broad outline, and then kind of paint this in. And I'm gonna do one at a time, just like I did on Magic Eraser. Let's see if it can do a better job there. Actually, that's not terrible, because this is out of focus material. You can kind of see some of this in here doesn't look like natural bokeh, but let me kind of do the same thing. Let me see if I can get rid of this second flower. Come all the way there, but I've got to paint it. It doesn't understand circles. Circles are pretty tricky. And sorry, I'm going a little slower here because my finger on glass. And let's see. See, that's pretty smooth. I've got these little spots, and I bet you I could just get rid of each individual spot. We'll give Microsoft these last two, and then if I come back, I think that could work. I bet, and so again, if I did like maybe just like a widescreen crop and then just like a little slice off this side, I would be able to frame this really well. Whereas on Magic Eraser, I definitely think we've got some issues with some of the processing there. That's pretty surprising. I think Microsoft did that one better than I was expecting it to. Another relatively easy edit. This is the type of stuff I do with a lot of my photos. So here's a picture of a vulture that I took, and everything here is pretty good. It's just I don't like how highlighted this branch down in the bottom corner got. It's a little bright, and I think just in a sort of a contrast way, it sort of competes with the beak of the bird. So I want to see if I can just subtly blur that out or remove it. I'm going to easily zoom in because Magic Eraser knows how to handle two-finger gestures. And this, I think we can circle. And let's see how Magic Eraser handles that. Well, it's a little artifacty, but that's not bad. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do one more because Magic Eraser has another tool that might help us here in this situation. This is kind of bright, but it's out of focus. I'm gonna hit camouflage, and now we're gonna circle and close that loop. Ugh, camouflage did not work out well. All right, so this, what I thought would be a pretty easy edit, Magic Eraser hasn't really helped us here at all. Let me do one more erase just to see if I can get kind of the best version of this. And then we're gonna go over to see what Microsoft can do. Yeah, I don't love that, but if I zoom all the way out, you can still totally tell. Okay, let's go to our tablet, I keep wanting to call it a Surface tablet. This is not a Surface tablet. Let's go to our Robo Ancala and hit erase. And we have to do that stupid dance of two-finger zoom and then undoing the area that doesn't work. And I'm gonna increase my brush size, and then we're gonna come in and paint this. Get the whole tree branch. And this is a little tricky because we've got a tree that I'd love to see redrawn behind this branch. I would like to see AI understand the scene enough to know what's going on behind this thing. So now, oh, that's not terrible. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Oh, yeah, let's let it process. I did a two-finger gesture when I shouldn't have, I'm sorry. And see, I think, this is one of those situations, if I'm sharing on social media and maybe I'm doing more of a square, I'd only have to worry about this little section down here. But if I also do like a widescreen crop, I could cut right through where this branch was, get something that's a little more 16:9, or just a wider aspect ratio, and that would still look pretty good. This right here, especially through the second tree, the tree that's further back, that kind of branch look right there, that could just play as kind of like vignetting on my phone lens. That's better than I thought it was gonna be. All right, I really thought Magic Eraser was gonna be kind of kicking Microsoft's booty a little bit more here. Now, something Magic Eraser has always been good at is just like these little kind of details in grass. So I wouldn't really edit this, but let's say I just wanted to eliminate as many of these cones as I can. So let me go into edit. Let's see if Magic Eraser can find something to do. And Magic Eraser. No, it can't find anything. Okay, so first, let's do something down here. It's really close to the camera. Oh, right, I can circle in Magic Eraser. Let's go ahead and circle this. That's not bad. Let me kind of paint out this twig. See, this is the kind of stuff I think Magic Eraser is really good at. You can kind of do this all day. And then let me paint out one of these cones. That's pretty good. Let me paint out another. And another. And, oops. If you do an edit near the edge of the frame, it Oh, it really doesn't like that. It says, oh, that's a gesture. I'll leave that cone alone then. I just want to see what Magic Eraser does with like a cone here that's just right off the edge. So I'm going to do Magic Eraser. And it doesn't see anything there, so I want to circle that. It's a little clumsy, but that's not terrible. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff I think Magic Eraser excels at, where you want to remove these kinds of things, especially like you're painting objects out and it's replacing it with grass. Magic Eraser really does that well. Now, let's see if Microsoft can improve on some of this stuff, like especially those edge edits, where again, it's frustrating how much we rely on things like gestures, screen gestures, because that kind of gets in the way of our tools. So I'm not going to zoom in, but I just want to paint this out, see what it does. I think this, Microsoft is taking a little longer. Like Magic Eraser edits seem to happen a little faster, but it also takes a little longer to get into the Magic Eraser tool. Now that looks a little sort of a clone tool stamped, but that's not bad. I bet I could get away with that. You know, sort of like, again, if I'm sharing this on social media or I'm texting this to grandma, I think that would be okay. That one actually looks pretty good. That gave us a sort of a difference in the grass quality that looks like sort of the modeled grass around there. And kind of get rid of this one. Now I'm going to take my brush size down and just do a paint over this cone here. Let's see. I bet, ooh, that did a little less warping to the edge of the little pop-up goal. That's pretty good. Where Magic Eraser sort of pulled the corner of that out, that's pretty clean. So these are all sort of the expected easy, like, you know, what we think these tools are really going to be the best at. This is what I do the most of with Magic Eraser, is just finding these tiny little elements that are distracting. I try to work really hard to frame my shots so that people can't see, or so that there aren't distracting elements in my shots. But something like this pops up where this old guy kept holding up this water bottle behind my daughter and my mother-in-law. So I want to see if Magic Eraser can figure out what to do with these hands that are kind of in the way. Let's come in here. I'm going to zoom in, not too far, because I think if I just do this kind of circle, it's going to be way faster to circle this than what I'm going to have to do on the Microsoft app. Not awful, but it's a lot to try and figure out what's happening. I mean, okay. We got kind of a Monet watercolor effect here. I'll be very surprised if Microsoft can do something like this better. So let's fire this up. Let's go into edit. I'm gonna hit erase, same thing. I'm gonna zoom in and then undo that stupid problem there. Come on, figure it out. Undo. Okay, so I've got my brush, and let's paint around, get just a little touch of order, and then all the way across and across after this. Okay, processing. I think that's a little bit better. So, I mean, the tricky thing is the AI has to look at this down here, this diagonal line, and it still seems to understand that there's a diagonal line cutting across, but then both of them are kind of bleeding in color down into this lower area, not understanding like what this part of the frame is. And I can't really blame either of them. That's a really tough edit because there's not a lot of information down here to go off of. So we'll kind of give both a pass there. I don't think either really did a good job. So I think we should do an even harder test. You know, when we talk about like, hey, there's a whole other person in your shot, and you want to try and remove them. Indoor, it's a little darker, it's a little contrastier, but we've got a lot of things happening in a shot like this where this is blue and then this is white. And I seriously, I'm very skeptical that an AI is going to look at these patterns and say, well, the blue continues up here, and then the white continues across here, the white continues across here. And I'll be very curious to see if either of these... Oh, and see, Magic Eraser found something. Let's go ahead and erase all these people. That's actually pretty cool. But the one person I want to remove is this person right here. And so let's kind of draw around her. This is tough because I can't really see what I'm circling because I've got a big dumb fat finger in the way. But hopefully the subject detection can kind of figure that out. It redrew my daughter's thigh well. It's a little chunky up there on kind of the upper thigh, but it totally nailed the white mat there. It did kind of freak out about the blue up here. I wonder if I did the shadow. Let's circle the shadow too. Oh, see, I just gave it a different color tone. If it hadn't kind of messed with color tone down in this bottom section there, I think that actually kind of would have looked cool. But on the whole, what worked better was eliminating all of the extra people in the background, trying to get that person in the foreground. I don't know, kind of mixed results. Fully zoomed out, you can definitely see behind my daughter that there's some weirdness back there, and you can see the impact point of the person jumping. That impact point, I think, is probably what's gonna mess us up on Microsoft's photo generative erase. It's such a weird name. You're generating an erase. All right, let me undo. I really wish Microsoft would let me reposition. And now same thing. Now I have to paint it, so I'm gonna fast forward this part again too. I think I missed a spot, let's see. Yep, totally missed a spot, and oof. Actually, I think Magic Eraser handled this one better. Like, especially back here where there's like parts of the girl still like intact. And I know I was really trying to paint in and paint around, but if I have like a little teeny edge, this Microsoft's Photos is way less forgiving. There is no subject detection like what Magic Eraser is doing. So also that means we don't get any of the tools that got rid of all of these extra little people kind of in the background, where Magic Eraser automatically took a look at all those and did a pretty good job of cutting them out of the scene. Here, you've got to be very precise about what you paint out, or you get these glaring errors. Also, Magic Eraser, I think, just did a better job of filling in detail here, like seeing that there was a pattern of white coming across this strip and filling that in through where the person was standing. But because of the precision, I do think my daughter's thigh right here was sort of completed a little smoother. Like there's a bit more of a bump or a pull, like a warp tool look to the Magic Eraser. But there's no way I'd be able to pass this off as like the actual photo. You would immediately notice all this garbage here. I've got one more test that I want to take a look at, removing an entire person, but I want to see what happens if we try to remove this little girl on the left. So we're going to edit, we're going to go into our Magic Eraser, see if it finds the person. Oh, I mean, it found something in the background. We'll go ahead and say erase all. Go ahead. Oh, whoops, I'm tapping it with the stylus, and this is not a stylus that's compatible with the Pixel tablet. Good job, Juan. And same thing, now I'm gonna do just another little outline trace, just so that we get the one thing that I think is a clear advantage is the subject detection. Give that a little loop right there. I think I clipped part of her shirt there, and then come on down. It's a lot faster. That's better than I thought it would be. Again, I feel like if I came in just with like a little kind of clone stamp tool, I could fix some of this mess right here, like where the green just doesn't quite line up. But, you know, if I got rid of that line right there, let's give Magic Eraser a second shot right there. And I think if I did like a clone stamp for the yellow line and just kind of drew that through, I could probably pull that off. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a distracting just kind of corner cut where it didn't understand the red versus green border separation. That's a lot better than what I thought this was gonna do. I am not confident in Microsoft having a significantly better result. And again, I'm gonna have to go through the process of really painting around the little girl. Okay, it's gonna do its magic here. Okay. So we've got like a blurring effect coming in here. The yellow line obviously isn't continuing matching the yellow line here. I'm not expecting the AI to be able to figure this stuff right here. And you can see where her hand was, it just kind of cut through and it's focusing on the red. So it's really taking this red information and saying, oh, okay, well, there's a lot of red, we can kind of do that. And it definitely got messier around where her bottom foot was. And there's shadow detail here. I think all of our AI tools are really struggling with things like you cut out a person, but what do you do about the shadow? And the shadow line is very soft, so it's not a contrasty enough situation. But the thing that Microsoft did better here was finding a border line. It's like there's a red line coming down for this inflatable part that's pretty distinct, and I bet, like if I zoom this out, there's definitely some little clues that there's something funky happening right around here, but the rest of this would totally play if I didn't touch the screen to do additional edits. This could work. This could work, and like I was saying on the Magic Eraser photo, if I redrew this line, like clone stamped this line, then I would be able to kind of play this off a little bit better. My daughter is like exposed and super bright, so if I did a bit of a crop for social media, I could cut through this line right here and probably play that off on Instagram with more of a square aspect ratio. I'm very surprised by that because it also looks like it's kind of looking at this exposed red right here and almost landing a seam right at the bottom. It's not nailing it, that definitely isn't convincing when you really pay attention to it, but if you're looking at a little girl in motion, you might not notice that line right there getting cut off. So I gotta say, for Microsoft just rolling this out now, I'm impressed on a couple different fronts. Magic Eraser has been around on Google products for a bit, and I think it does the sort of more minor edits really well. But some of these generative results, like when we had bokeh or when we had that tree branch, things like that are working really well. Like I could use that, and a very quick edit would deliver less distraction to the back of my photo. I think generative AI still has a ways to go on delivering more consistent and more realistic results as we start hitting these edit tools harder. I'm hoping that we'll see some of these other settings improve. Microsoft is really sprucing up Windows on ARM, and especially in the context of a full-fledged operating system versus a more mobile operating system, Windows on ARM versus Android. So hopefully these tools will also come to devices that are rocking more traditional x86 and like NVIDIA GPUs. But for right now, it seems like the first place to try this is a Windows on ARM machine. I hope you've enjoyed this comparison. Like, share, subscribe, do all that YouTubery stuff, and I'll catch you all on the next video.